Yeah, welcome to Bodywisdom Talks. Hello, Alicia. Hope you're doing well.
Good. Hello.
Hello. In today's episode, we want to explore a topic that is still sensitive for many of us, the impact of the corona years on our nervous systems. And we are not here to judge or to take sides, whether you were afraid of the virus or afraid of losing your bodily autonomy. Both experiences were real and both activated our nervous systems in deep ways. And we'll explore what it means when people feel unsafe, not just physically, but emotionally and socially, and how fear responses can lead to disconnection in the end. And most importantly, how we can come back into connection both with ourselves and with others. And through the lens of somatic mindfulness, trauma awareness, and nervous system understanding, we invite you into a space of compassion and curiosity. So here we are, and we were thinking a lot about this, right, Alicia? How to show how a lot of experiences were leading to the same experience or the same emotion or nervous system reaction in the end. And we were thinking about how could we look at this? Because there have been people who have been so afraid of the virus. Really, they felt so threatened. And there have been people who have been threatened by the way the vaccination was forced on them. And we wanted to talk a little bit about that. So I wonder, what do you think?
Yeah, well, actually, funny, Stephanie, we could probably start with the threat of the virus first,
Oh,
because I
yeah.
think it's the
Hmm.
first time really that the whole world was kind of attacked by a hidden threat. You know, you couldn't see it. It was like a hidden
Right.
virus.
Hmm.
And it's the
Hmm.
first time, it's almost like collective trauma for the whole world, that there was something, and it actually was like, it reminded me of one of those movies that you see where there was a threat coming, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the whole world was like, couldn't believe it. It started in China. And, you know, I remember about 2 weeks before thinking it'll never come here. And then slowly, slowly, you could just feel the whole media build for it.
Yeah.
And then it was like we were all in it together.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And I think for that, that was just the beginning, kind of just how that happened and how the fear, the global fear of a threat, which wasn't a person, which was a virus.
Right, right. That was the first time. I mean, there have been times like the Spanish flu, for example, was a bit similar, but not that worldwide as this one was. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you say because there was times before, but actually, I think what kind of compounded this was actually and created another threat was the media, because everybody was looking at the news. So if you're thinking of your nervous system, you're already in fight or flight, but you don't know what to do because you can't, it's hidden. You can't fight it because it's hidden and you can't really run from it. So therefore you're kind of stuck in this nervous system reaction. And then you hear the media constantly kind of revving that up. So it's almost like we're in threat, we can't do anything, and then we're looking at the media every day.
Right, and that for a long time, and they're making it a real big topic, and they're giving a lot of attention and a lot of threats in the news, and so that people would feel really uncomfortable and scared. I don't know how it was in Ireland. Here in Germany, it started very slowly. Like, first, it wasn't a threat. First, it was just a virus. Then we could see pictures from northern Italy where a lot of people suddenly died. Yeah, there were lots of threatening pictures going around suddenly. And then we had this one and only expert in Germany. His name is Christian Drosten, and he was all over the media, and on just maybe just him, maybe sometimes some other people, but most of the time it was just him. And over the time he was telling different stories. So like in the beginning it wasn't that bad, then suddenly it became really serious and bad. And there have been a lot of developments like this. First, it all was very harmless, and suddenly it was very dangerous. And that was really confusing to a lot of people. But as you said, when you get an instant input, a threatening input, it might reach you at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even just thinking about it now, it's almost like the enemy is approaching. I can even feel just just the imprint of it now, actually thinking about that because it was building, the fear was building and the anxiety about, first of all, not believing it, and then like this can't be true, and then, you know, it just got progressively worse because I think there was a little bit in the media. It's kind of interesting how when you're afraid or somebody's attacking you, that actually it started to, who should we blame? Whose fault is it? And then there was a lot of conspiracy theories. There's a lot about trying to blame China. And it was like, so it was
Mm.
building, building. And then the state got involved. And then that started happening, that it was like on another level. And then the state was like, it was huge here because St. Patrick's Day was approaching, and they shut it down, because it became, and that was another thing, like that was like a big red mark. Oh my God, the country's being shut down. The flights aren't going. So that was
Yeah.
another rev. That was like, you're already thinking, how's my nervous system? Is this kind of scared? Am I scared? What's going on? And what's happening in my
Yeah.
body? And then when that was another level that you're going, okay, this is a full-on attack.
Yes, especially when this kind of shutdown came, as you said. And I remember one day really when we weren't allowed to drive the car or to go out at all. Like just maybe to walk the dog. At
Yeah.
10 o'clock, you weren't allowed to walk, just to walk the dog, but otherwise you were not allowed to go outside at 10 o'clock until the morning. And you were not allowed to go by car somewhere to another city or something. And all of this was happened very suddenly from, oh, it's very harmless, to suddenly, oh, it's very dangerous. And at one point, a lot of people started thinking some were just driven by their fear and getting more and more driven by their fear. The more they watched the news, the more they were driven by the fear. And other people started to think, like, how can it be that the virus at 10 o'clock is more active than at 9 o'clock, for example? Like asking like common sense questions. But it seems like when your nervous system is activated in a very strong way, like really you're really scared to death, then sometimes we have seen that in many situations when you're too scared. Sometimes your logical thinking might be even affected by your fear. And that can, of course, happen in all directions. And that's what we also wanted to talk about today. So there have been the people who have been so afraid of the virus. And I mean, I don't want to blame them or tell them this is not right or has been wrong. That's not what we want to talk about. We just want to say all of that was what was happening was having an impact on our nervous system. And there have been people who have been really affected by the news, and that was a difficult time for them, not knowing what will happen to them, especially when they started to tell it's really dangerous for older people, for people who have chronic diseases. And I think that was a big threat to them, not knowing will this have a bad effect on me or not? Or am I going to die maybe on this? And questions like this, because that's what they were telling in the news, that you might probably die when you're,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think it's so interesting what you're saying because actually the way you said that the brain shuts down because when we're in threat, our nervous system responds first of all with our neocortex, which is to look for connection and to find safety and connection.
yeah,
And that was taken from us because, and the whole world didn't know this. I mean, maybe now they know, but if we can't find connection with others, because that was supposedly a problem, we actually then go into our reptilian brain, which is because we can't fight or flight. So therefore we go and we curl into our, freeze because our neocortex is not working. So we go back to the reptilian brain and we close in and we freeze. And I think that's what happened because normally we would find safety with others first.
yeah,
And also because I remember also a day when we were going for like everybody for our family, it was bringing the dog for a walk, even just going to the beach and being with nature was very healing and very soothing to the nervous
yeah.
system. And we were stopped by the police as well, that we could not go further. We had a 5 mile radius where we could go,
Oh,
actually for a few weeks. So we couldn't even bring the dog. And I found that very hard because who are we going to meet on the beach? You know what I
right.
mean? It wasn't even, it's not even a busy beach where we go. It's kind of in an industrial area and nobody else is there. And we were just getting some fresh air and something which is really healthy for our nervous system to kind of relax and soothe and attune to. And also it was that other layer of closing down. So I can't find safety and connection with others. I can't find safety in even getting out to nature. And somebody is kind of pressing on me and putting rules in, which can be very, which restrictive for people. So I found that
Definitely.
very hard for my nervous system was like, I'm really frozen.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. That's so right. Because all of this fear created this long for structure, for clear rules, masks, and distancing, and also the vaccinations, of course.
Yes.
And
Next level. Yeah.
next level. And because all of these, that's what they've been told in the news, were offering a sense of control and in this chaotic thing that suddenly was going on in the world. Shall we talk a little bit about the other experience of the people who haven't had fear of the virus, but felt very bad about being forced to get vaccinated? What do you think was the effect on the nervous system of this experience, not being in fear of the virus, but of the vaccination?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think the whole thing is really interesting when you look at from the nervous system because I think the world responded from very much a headspace and and it did what it did and it did all those lockdowns and all that because it
Yeah,
just is so it's so head driven and not somatically driven. So I think that's, no blame to anybody.
yeah,
It's a really good teaching lesson to reflect on it, especially somatically. So now I feel, yeah, it's almost like, okay, first of all, there's lockdowns and then there's a big scramble to fix it, Okay, let's get science and I'm not, let's get the vaccine, let's fix it. But actually, before we even do that, which is great, it we need to look at it's important to look at other ways that co-regulation is huge for actually soothing our nervous system and for creating safety, going out into nature, all of those were restricted. But then the next level was, okay, we found a vaccine which was developed very quickly, so there was a lot of unsurety about that in the whole world because you
yeah,
know and there was such a divide between those who said give it to me because and they were happy about taking it, and then those who didn't. And I
right,
think that was another nervous system response
right,
because that created division. So we were
right,
already in freeze, and then this very much was like you know more untrust with people, and it became really divisive and very very contentious, didn't it? And anxious.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it was having such an impact on families, on relationships, on working relationships. In so many terms, there was a lot of struggle and fights going on, who's right, who's wrong. That was so dividing and so destructive to the whole society. And I think a lot of marriages got divorced because of this, or many people lost their jobs just because having a different opinion. I always was wondering, how can this be that suddenly we cannot talk, like telling us our opinions and be just open to what somebody has to say, what drives them, what's your fear, what's my fear, just having an open, honest talk. And suddenly it wasn't possible anymore. And I think, as you explained before, that's because of the nervous system. When you come back to an old nervous system way, like the old reptilian brain and things like this, suddenly they are at work and they do the job. And it's when you're threatened to death, there's no conversation going on anymore. It's
Yeah.
just me or
Yeah.
you. That's all. And that's what it was. It was like a me or you. Both cannot be right. It can just be me or you. Otherwise, one will die here. And that's so powerful. This me or you thing that was really stopping all human conversation that we would usually have had in such a situation.
Yeah, which brings me to the importance of like the somatic part, because actually in science, scientifically, like when we were in so much threat. There was the virus, and then there was the lack of support, the lack of relationships, the lack of co-regulation, and then there was the division bit with those who supported the vaccine and those who didn't. What's the common denominator is fear. So fear was driving us. So therefore, our neocortex, we couldn't discuss it. We just were so reactive. So I think that's really interesting because when we're in that kind of reptilian fight or flight, it's a survival response. And you can't reach the head because, you think you're just in fear, you're just reacting. So, which is
Right.
really interesting from a somatic point of view, is to look at that because
Yeah.
it's not about right or wrong necessarily. It's
That's
about,
the point.
okay, how do I feel about taking the vaccine, or how do I feel somebody who takes the vaccine and is into it, that's great. But what's driving that is fear. And somebody who doesn't is the same thing. They fear of taking the vaccine. So can we look at the fear underneath that and the fear of the virus and maybe see where that lives in our body and give it a little and kind of play with it and hold it and work with it, process it so that we can understand the other bit. It's almost like getting the neocortex back online, you know, that's been
That's well
kind of,
said.
which
Yeah.
is interesting because it's such an interest of mine is if I can't meet somebody with a different opinion, like how can we ever talk? How can there ever be peace, between two people? Because we're holding such beliefs and behind that is such fear. It's, can we delve underneath somatically to be able to listen? Because when
Right.
you're in that response, you can't listen. And I think that's what happened. There was just such a division between take the vaccine and those who don't. They couldn't
Right.
reach.
Right.
And
And
it wasn't
both,
their fault, I suppose.
yes, and both groups have been severely afraid of having strong health issues in the consequences, like getting infected with the virus, you might die, getting vaccinated, you might die. So this is a really strong and powerful threat in both ways.
Mhm.
And I think that's why the conversations have been loaded like this, like they have been. And that's why it was so destructive to the social life in common. The solution here, of course, like as you said, would be calming down your nervous system first before not go into this fear of death. But how do we do that? And maybe we can show a little bit of an exercise how it would look like to calm your nervous system down, even when it is strongly activated. And
Mhm.
there might not be just only one way, there might be a lot of ways how you could do that. But we would like to show one approach, maybe, right?
Yeah. Well, I'd love to do a little inquiry with you. Now, it
Yeah,
might be a little bit activating in memory of COVID, and uh, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it isn't activating for you, but it would be interesting to see.
yeah,
And then what
one,
we could do is bring a little bit of kindness. But I think it might be a
um,
situation that everybody during COVID had,
right.
no
Like, and
matter
that
what
was
their,
the mask
yes,
situation,
yes,
right? We
yes.
all had this, and that was so difficult, not knowing what's going on behind the mask, you know. You couldn't see face expressions, anything, just you just had to read from the eyes or if somebody started talking. But apart from that, there was a lot of disconnection going on because somehow you couldn't connect very well behind this mask. How would you do that? And maybe we go into this a little bit because I think
Yeah.
everyone had this. Yeah.
And actually, that's another very interesting thing because there was two layers. There was for
Mhm.
the vaccine and against the division, and
Yeah.
then there was another division which was for the mask and against the mask. And
Right. You're
I thought
right.
that was interesting because that was more divisive, and also there was such fear associated with that. And again, that was a massive other step in the co-regulation, because if you think of children, like if you're
Yeah.
masked, I think they
Oh, yeah.
will do studies on this. Like your child regulates from looking at you and seeing your facial, features and everything.
Yeah.
So so I'm sure that will have effect on people as well wearing the masks because it's very hard to co-regulate if you've got, it's very hard to see the
Yeah, not
face,
just
everything.
that. I mean, you don't get enough air probably,
Yes.
and I mean, some might have felt safe with a mask, and even if they don't get enough air, they felt comfortable with it because of protection. And others might have felt scared to death because suddenly they couldn't get enough oxygen, or yeah, what might have really felt very bad, and you might have felt dizziness. And I heard of people who even lost their senses and everything because they couldn't breathe properly. And so there have been a lot of effects on the nervous system in this
Yeah.
sense.
Actually, I was smiling there, not at what you're saying, because you just put your just put your name, you just put the word out there, which is so important, is safety. And I think that was it. Like when we look back on it, no matter what somebody believed or didn't believe, whether they wanted to wear the mask or not, it was
Yeah.
all about how did they feel safe.
Right.
And I think
Right.
that's what's coming back to with the nervous system. How can we help the nervous system feel safe?
Yeah, and that
And
was the
you know,
problem in Corona
yeah,
time, right? Because we had different approaches of how to feel safe.
yes.
One felt safe with vaccination and mask, and one felt safe without vaccination and without mask. And that's the point. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they both have absolutely right to feel what they feel because it is what it is. You cannot just tell somebody, no, you don't, you're not allowed to feel this. I don't want you to feel this. It's not working, right?
Yes, and I think as well around that, when you look at the way the world responded now from a somatic point of view, a nervous system point of view, you can see how we kind of all just reacted the way that the mind right without the body piece. Because actually, to find safety for our nervous system, we first look to others and we co-regulate. And also, that could be the state as well for co-regulating bits. And that probably was taken from us. And also nature and going out into nature and feeling, our feet on the ground, so a lot of restrictions, which I think would be very interesting with all the science now and the neuroscience about the nervous system. It might be interesting to look at a different way that if that happened again, where we could find safety and learn from the past,
Absolutely.
somatically.
Very nice. Yeah, very nice.
So let's do a little inquiry. Okay,
Yeah.
let's see where this goes. Mask or no mask? I don't know. Let's see what comes, right? So just take a stretch for a moment and
Yeah.
actually just tune into your body. Because actually, how do you feel even just bringing up the whole coronavirus? It's still with us somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, this whole struggle, this whole disconnection going on still has an effect if we start talking about it, no matter on which side we were standing, it has an effect on us, of course. Well,
And I'm wondering how your body feels now, just tuning into it, Stephanie. I actually, now tuning in, I can feel a little bit of activation. It's very gentle, but it's almost like a fizziness.
mhm. Yeah, I can sense something in my belly, stomach area, like a little bit kind of feeling of electricity, like something's going on there, like a, a, a sense of insecurity and yeah, so it doesn't feel comfortable, I must say.
Yeah, so that's interesting, isn't it? And I feel kind of the same. And I'm wondering, how would you bring a little bit of kindness to that, a bit of honoring to that, just to acknowledge it? How would you best, what would you like to do?
I have a sense of like breathing well would be nice. Just see what's going on with the breath right now and how to deepen the breath maybe a little bit and letting go of the tension with the breath.
Hmm. So just taking a moment to tune into the tension and notice it and allow it. And then maybe the breath, just focusing on the exhale and following it. And not trying to fix anything or change anything, but we're just seeing what's there and we're using the breath to help us turn inwards.
So with me, it helps me to lengthen when I breathe out, I make it a little bit more long. But I know it's not for everyone, but for me right now, it helps me to calm down my nervous system.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I noticed the yawn. So that is your parasympathetic nervous system just tuning in. Yeah.
Right.
And I notice you're breathing. I just noticed your shoulders very gently moving as well. Very. And I'm curious how that electricity in your belly area, in your abdomen feels now.
Slowly starts to calm down. It's not gone, but it's not that powerful anymore.
And tell me a little bit more about it. Is it in a particular area? Is it moving? Does it need anything from you?
It's still kind of in the solar plexus area, and it feels like it shrinks.
It feels like what?
It shrinks,
Ah, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's still there.
And I'm wondering, would it be possible to play with it a little bit just to see? It may not want that, but just even to play with shrinking it and then kind of opening it and then shrinking it.
Oh, I
Or
feel
let me
like,
know.
yeah, I feel like it's good to have the hand on it, like really
Oh, really?
cycling around
Yeah.
it, like connecting with the hand.
And how does it respond to that when you just put your hand there connecting?
That feels good. It's like bringing more awareness and kindness to
Mm.
this area. How do you feel? What's what makes sense for your body?
Yeah, I feel the fizziness is gone. and I feel very relaxed because I'm not trying to get rid of anything. And it feels soothing. I have my hand there. I can just feel the hand. Um, and how are you feeling now?
It's good. Just I realized just looking at you, taking a deep breath, like what you did right now, that was also affecting me. Like that was, yeah, one can breathe a little bit deeper, like just by looking at you doing that.
Yeah, it's amazing the co-regulation.
Right.
Uh, and just even me putting my hand there as you did was just like I felt held,
Mm.
supporting myself. Yeah.
Mm. Nice. Yeah.
And it's just incredible to slow down because I can also see the other part of me that kind of wants to go into that inquiry. And I'm laughing because I could easily go in there and just go da 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 da. But actually, I'm staying regulated, very calm, and just noticing that part of me that wants to speed up.
Mm.
And it's making
I
me
know what
smile.
you mean. Yeah. To go back to the functioning, to
Yeah.
function and to follow our script. Yeah.
But I'm realizing the importance of it's so soothing to just slow down and attune to myself and to you. It's so healing.
This,
And that can be there too, that like, okay, I want to get I can watch that like, okay, I would love to do the inquiry, but it's not important actually.
yeah, and now we can even laugh, and I think also laughing is calming the nervous system down.
Yeah,
How
a
do you
bit of
feel
that.
right now? Do you feel calmer now?
Yeah, I do. I feel really relaxed. And I mean, I can do this little inquiry because it's a good space to see how, from a calm, soothed nervous system, how to inquire into how it might affect you or not.
Right, right. That's good point to start from. Yeah.
Okay. Would
Okay.
you like to start?
Yeah, let's get started.
Let's do an inquiry
Mhm.
into how just even reflecting on COVID might affect a soothed nervous system. So thank you, Stephanie, for lending me your nervous system.
Sure.
So let me begin by just remembering back into COVID. And I think you might remember a time, Stephanie, or maybe not. You tell me when I think we had the virus, there was division on the vaccine and also the masks, but also that this fear of other people, and there was a certain amount of meters that you had to stand apart from somebody. So just bearing that in mind, I want you to imagine going into, you know, I don't know if you drink coffee, but maybe tea, going into a place to get a cup of tea or a nice bun. And you go into the shop and basically you're chatting to somebody in the queue and you forget all of that. You're just, there's one person in and you go and you're standing beside them and you forget about the 6 meters or whatever it was and you're standing very close to them and suddenly and you're chatting, you're actually forgot about, let's say you're very soothed, you forgot about, you've no fear, you forgot about everything. It's a good day, something else is happening. And suddenly when you stand close to them, they stand back away from you. What happened there? I noticed your face just
Uh,
changed.
that
How are
actually
you feeling?
happened. So I clearly remember that.
So just bringing that into mind. So just remembering that when they stand back from you, how did you feel? Or where does it resonate in your body?
uh, it felt a little bit shocking, even. and uh, overwhelming how to deal with that someone is so scared of that I might have something that will do really bad to them and not to take it personally. That was, yeah, that's very difficult in this moment.
Hmm. And I'm wondering, just out of just very quickly, what did you feel like? What did you feel like saying to them when they stepped back? What did you feel? What was the first response? It may have been somatic, or it may have been from the head.
Well, from the head, it's like, don't be scared. Nothing will happen to you. But of course, that's just the head. My body is in like realizing this, that somebody is really scared, and I'm going back. Like I would have the sensation of to create the distance that this person would like to have so they feel safe again.
Hmm.
And I don't need this space to feel safe, but they need it. So I would accept it and allow them to feel safe again.
Hmm.
That's
And
what I would feel from my body, like step back.
oh, okay. And I love the way your hands went back like that,
Yeah.
as if. So is
Mhm.
that, so that's, so just play with that for a moment, because that's an interesting response. That's almost like, are you pushing them away? Or are you actually pulling
No,
yourself back?
it's like getting my hands up, like I have no weapons. Like
Oh,
I, I'm not armed.
just feel into it for a moment, actually.
Yeah,
Close your
don't be afraid of me. I'm not doing you anything like this.
like surrender.
Yeah, more like showing that I'm not dangerous. Like
Yeah.
please
Yeah.
don't be afraid because of me. Like, oh,
Oh, interesting. Like hands up. I know it's like a game.
yeah,
Hands
hands
up.
up.
Yeah,
Right.
you can shoot me. So just feel into that, because I'm very interested. That's quite a strong movement. So just to feel with your hands, just holding it there, and just notice how your hands feel and how your body feels. So somebody in the shop, you were close to them and they stepped back, and now you're stepping back, and it's almost like this wants to happen. And feeling into
Right.
that and just feeling as, you know, how's your body feel? Is it tight? Is it tense? Is it relaxed? Just
Well, it feels better than if I would have not done it because it feels like if the other person feels more safe, I can also feel more safe. Like if somebody feels threatened because of me, they might react in a very harsh and strong way. And
Mhm.
I don't want to experience this as well. And to me, it's not a big thing just to step back to make someone else feel more comfortable or safe.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
can do that. That's not that this is really not a not I don't feel like I'm people pleasing or something. That's not how it feels. It feels more like accepting that there's someone with a strong fear and just creating a bit of safety for this person. That's for me something very natural to make others feel more safe and comfortable around me.
Mhm. So giving, okay, so look, just to allow that to happen, just that feeling, because you didn't actually, you probably just stood back on the day. You didn't probably go like that, did you? You probably
No,
just stood back.
no,
Yeah.
of course
So just
not. I
feeling, because that's
Yeah,
interesting. That came up straight away. So just even
right.
feeling that and just imagining the person there and just standing, imagining looking at them and notice how you're feeling. What sensations are in your body? Are you grounded? Are you activated?
No, this is grounding me too because I can do everything what I can do to bring the load out of the situation, like the load that's on the nervous system already because of the fear and that what might probably happen when I would be offensive, for example.
Hmm. I don't understand. What do you mean offensive? It would
Like
probably,
if I would have said something or thought something like, it's not my fear, deal with it, for
yeah,
example. I'm not afraid, so deal with it. It's your fear, deal with it. I could have had this answer as well, and I've seen a lot of people have done this. So it's your thing if you're scared. It's not my problem.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like this. Uh,
Coming back to that and just feeling in and just allowing yourself to stay and just notice what happens with the hands. So you're standing there, you were close to the person, they stood back and you stood back and you wanted to put your hand, like you may not have wanted at the time, but now remembering it, your hands have gone up and just tuning into them and noticing the other person and just noticing how you're feeling, what your hands want to do, what your body wants to do. And notice how are you feeling towards them? You've mentioned they have a lot of fear, you don't. And just
I
resting with that.
I just feel this. I want this peace. That's what I feel. I just want peace.
Mhm. So tuning into that, you just want peace. What would peace feel like? Peace.
Well, peace, this is like if I can do something that makes someone else comfortable without me making feel uncomfortable. But this is okay for me. I can do this
Okay. And I'm
as long as
curious.
it is like this. Yeah.
And I'm curious, how are you feeling now with your hands there? That's fine. They're feeling comfortable. You've stood back. How are you feeling? Are you feeling comfortable? What would make you, or maybe you are comfortable?
Yeah, this is for me, I don't have any problems with this situation. Like if somebody would force me, something force on me,
Hmm.
like if we come back to the mask. For example, I would stay at the cash in the supermarket and I would feel like dizziness or something, and I would have to lift my mask a little bit because I need oxygen.
Hmm.
And somebody would shout at me, "Hey, you! Put your mask right on your face!"
Yeah.
Like, and I would feel like I'm going to lose my senses if I do that, and that would be a different situation, for example.
So let's come back to the hands. I'd love to just feel into them for a moment and remembering the person just there in front of you. You've honored them, you've moved back. And I want you to just tune in and feel your hands. Just really tune in, like, and I wanted you to play with something. So even just relaxing the hands for a moment, keeping them up, but just kind of bending the fingers a little bit. And I want you to play with something just so that you've honored the other person. And I want you to play with how does it feel to just gently move your hand forward. Now, I want you to be really curious. We've no idea. So let me know whether that feels good or bad or how far, very slowly, how far you want to go, just really tuning into your hands. What do they want to push or do they want to not or they want to go slowly? How do they feel?
It's good. Like, feels like pushing away this kind of energy, this fearful energy.
Okay, so just going as far and wherever you want to stop, or maybe you want to move back and really tuning into what your hands do. It's almost like your hands are moving.
It's good, I must say. Feels right.
And how do you know it feels good? Where are you feeling it?
I feel it in my belly and in my overall body, like it brings more the sensation of aliveness
Yeah.
and also like that's me. And I also have a sense of something. You might feel scared and I might feel like, oof, like uh, I didn't mean to scare you, but
Yeah.
I'm not scary, this is
Yeah.
weird thing, but apart from what's true or not true, that's how I feel. Yeah.
So just playing with that and see when your hands want to finish or if they want to keep pushing or whatever. Just
Actually, it feels good
mm,
to push away, like to make space between me and this fear of someone.
mm. So do that because you know what? Even that fear, that incident, it came up so quickly to you, and I think everybody will have an incident like that. But just to play with, because at the time we don't know what to do, and your hands went up, so just to finish whatever they wanted to do or weren't allowed to. I mean, you couldn't do that in the shop. I noticed you're taking a breath. How are you feeling now? Just after doing that little.
Released,
Mm,
really released. Like that was not a nice, mm, how do you say? I missed the English term, sorry.
experience or
Yeah, when you meet someone, like engagement,
yeah,
that wasn't very nice, like somebody is suddenly so scared of you, and
yeah.
uh,
And what are you noticing now?
I realized how strong this was actually, the
Mm,
impact on the nervous system. Like, even if you just want peace and you do everything to create the peace or to give the peace and the security and safety, still it has an effect because imagine now, without the context of the coronavirus, you go somewhere and someone is so scared of you, and you have the sense of, I'm not dangerous, I'm not a dangerous person, but they feel scared to death because of you. And that
mm,
is a little bit of
yeah,
insane. It feels a little bit insane. Like, huh? Why are you so scared? Like, it
yeah,
doesn't make sense.
yeah.
And to me, it wasn't making sense. So, and then it felt really awkward.
Yeah. So like let's tune in again because exactly without the coronavirus, all of that, let's take it all away. So let's come back to your hands up and actually, yeah, you meet somebody, you were close, we weren't close, but you were talking to them and they stand away and you're thinking they're afraid of me. And
Hmm.
how does that make you feel? Your hands went up, which they didn't on the day. So let's play with them now again, just remembering that. What do your hands want to do? Do they now? They
Wow,
may not.
yeah. Yeah, now something else comes in. Before there was just this, just I want just to bring peace and to make everybody feel safe. But now I feel like, but I feel weird, You might feel unsafe, but I feel weird with all of this. And because I don't, I know I'm not a threat, and I'm convinced, let's say that I'm not a threat, and and whatever somebody else is convinced of, they have both equal rights to feel whatever they feel. So they might have the right to feel unsafe, but I have the right to feel awkward because I don't think
Yeah,
I'm a threat. So I have the
lovely.
same right.
You do, and lovely. I'm curious.
Yeah,
How does it feel? So coming back, your hands may want to go up or not, just back to the situation.
yeah.
How does it feel to receive that? I feel awkward. You're seeing them, they've moved back, and how do you feel? You
I
said,
feel a bit annoyed.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So how
Yeah.
do you know that? Where is that coming up in your body?
My in my belly, like
Yeah.
like a slight sense of anger, like
Yes.
something
So
like not well, I'm not threat. It's like
Yeah, okay. Well, let's go to the anger. I'd love to dial that anger up a little bit on your hands, let's tune into the anger, allow it. So there's a little part of you that was angry, a slight sense, and allow it to be there, allow its voice.
yeah, I feel like I want to push forward again, like bring it out,
Hmm.
like just don't put your fear on me.
Mm.
Don't project it on me. That's yours. You're scared of dying. You have fear of death. It's really your, don't put it on me.
Hmm. What just happened there? You notice you took a breath. You were pushing and you let the anger have its words, and then you took a breath.
That's very nice. I feel very alive now, and I feel like I gave something back that wasn't mine.
Mm.
This whole fear of death thing that wasn't mine. And I just gave it back. So, and that feels good. Much better now.
And tuning into with your hands, wherever they want to be, but just tuning back in and noticing how's the anger, the slight bit of anger, or how's the belly? Is there anything else that needs to be said with just that situation or needs to move?
It's something like yours is yours and mine is mine.
Hmm. And what happened there? I just noticed you just took a breath.
That's so interesting. I'm so surprised now because I didn't know that me again, maybe there was a little bit of people pleasing now when I look at it because I didn't realize how I felt actually in the whole context. And now, since there was room and space that you were giving me to allow myself to feel it and to go with it, suddenly I sense, wait, there was another truth, not just peace. There was the truth of me, how I felt in all of this, and not being seen because the media was telling that the threat is of the virus is the only truth, and everyone, and that's like, since it's been told by authorities, this is the ultimate truth.
Mhm.
So I felt like not allowed to feel my own truth in it.
So lovely. Let's come back to that then, because so you're in the shop. Let's go back to the incident. Feel your bum on the ground. Feel your bum on the chair for a moment and just connect with the support of the chair, the support of your ground, your feet on the ground if they are, and maybe just take a breath for a moment. And come back to imagining the person you're talking to them and they step back. And just allowing what you're feeling is now after allowing your truths, but honoring theirs and tuning into how your body feels or if it wants to do anything else.
That feels much more real, like more true. Like I now I feel much more connected to myself again than just to the threat of someone else that
Mhm.
someone else is feeling in the nervous system. I Before I was feeling more connected to how this person is feeling. Now I feel like, as you said, I can see that, I will honor that, but at the same time, I won't stop to honor my own sensations and my own truth.
And what are your sensations? Just as you connected in there to yourself. Tell me what your sensations are, how you connect to yourself, and they're standing there and they step back. Just how do you know that? Let me know. What are you feeling?
It's actually my body. I feel my whole body is there. It's my
Hmm.
presence that I feel. That's what I feel. My presence, me being here.
Hmm. And
And
does it feel, is it hot? Is it cold? Is there any sensations with that? Or
it's like, how to say, if you have ever been under a high pressure, like a big pillow or something really big is pressurizing you, and suddenly you feel your body because of the pressure.
Mhm.
And before you haven't felt it that much because there wasn't the pressure.
Ah,
So that's
yeah.
how it feels like.
Ah, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm in my body right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I
Oh, when
embody
you
my
say
body.
it, I can see it. I'm in my body. Yeah. Like you're
Yeah.
strong. Okay. So yeah, so
Yeah.
feeling that for a moment, like it's so rare we feel in our body. And actually this work is amazing for that. I totally resonate with what you're saying because I'm beginning to feel the strength of the body without it being muscle strength. Yeah.
Right. Just because of the presence being
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
Yes. Tuning into that presence, like your presence, your truth.
Mm.
And then I would like you, so are you in your presence or how are you feeling? You still? Hmm. And then I'd like you to just, so knowing your truth, to just gaze at the other person and just see their truth and how you feel, or see them, not even, and how you feel, how it affects you somatically.
I see it, but it doesn't affect me anymore
Hmm.
from here.
And do you need to do anything? Do you need to say anything? Just honoring yourself and seeing them, and maybe if I say honoring them, what happens?
I mean, I don't have any issues to honor theirs. Well, I
Hmm.
was having issues to honor my own truth.
Yeah.
So here I stand, and in front of honoring that truth, I'm equally honoring my own truth.
And I love the way you put your hand on your heart there. So how does that feel, or what's resonating about that?
Yeah, that feels right.
Mm. Oh, and you look strong there. You just changed. It's almost like, yeah, that feels right. That was, I
Yeah.
can see it in your posture, your smile, the way you're moved. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's kind of new awareness that's here with me now, that I can see that I can feel my body. I feel connected to my own truth. And as I said, I have no issues honoring somebody else's uh, truth, but at the same time, I won't neglect my own truth from here.
Mm.
Even if somebody is saying I'm not allowed, I will still do that.
Mm. I love the way you put your hand on your heart. It's almost like this is me. It's almost like the holding.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's for you, but I'm getting a feeling of like, yeah, this is me and I can hold myself.
Yeah.
Maybe it's different for you.
No, it's really like connected to me. I feel like this, and that's my truth. And I'm not leaving my truth just
Oh,
because you feel different. Like,
oh, I can sense the strength in you as you're talking. It's just like really embodied. It's like, yeah, this is the way I am. If you feel different, doesn't matter. But I'm this way. Very
yeah,
strong.
yeah, right, right. And
Yeah.
nobody needs to change.
Yeah.
Everybody is allowed to stay who they are. That's fine with me. If as long as I'm allowed to stay like how I feel. I have no problem with this.
Yeah. And one last question. And how can you allow yourself? Because other people may not allow you be yourself,
Right.
and through no fault of their own. But how can you tune in to allowing yourself honor your own truth? Just get us a feeling about it, or whatever comes.
I feel like I'm standing so strong right now, like nobody ever can come and take this away from me. Like I'm standing
Mm.
here. I mean, you can come and have a fight with me. I'm not looking for a fight. And I don't need a fight as
Yeah,
well. But as much as possible, I will keep on feeling connected to myself and my own truth. And you can try to change this, um, you won't be successful.
lovely. And we're going to finish here, but before we do, I'd love you to just tell me. So, because I could really feel that strength from you when you were talking. So, just to tune in and just tell me a little bit about how does your bum feel? How does your body feel when that strength is there? How does your back feel? How does your head feel? Just tell me a little bit to imprint that feeling of strength.
I feel naturally me.
Mm. Yeah. And tell me a little bit, is your back straight? Is your bum heavy? Is your feet loose? Is your head relaxed? Just tell me, explore this physical
Ah, okay, yeah,
manifestation.
yeah. I feel grounded with my feet. I feel relaxed in my neck area and my face, and I feel very relaxed actually. And I feel my power at the same time.
Mhm.
I feel
So
like
take
at home with myself. Like I don't need to be anybody or need to think anything. I just can be me, whatever that is. And that's fine. That's enough.
so taking a moment to just soak that up, just the physical sensations of that strength and the mental sensations of it. Tuning into your own truth and yourself, your strength. And I was just recapping that, that scenario where you met somebody in COVID and they stood back and you honored them. And now you've had a sense of going back to that and honoring something in you that wasn't allowed at that time. And now you're allowing it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And very slowly opening your eyes when you're ready and coming back to the room.
Mm.
And maybe taking a stretch or whatever you feel
Oh.
just after that.
Oh. Oh. Wow, that was an interesting trip.
Trip.
Felt like I was doing a trip.
Yeah, it's somatic journeying. They are like because you're it's almost like our head needs something and it has this and it's good, it's great, but we're so in tune with that. And it's like learning the language of the body, which is unfinished work, especially when it comes to all that nervous system fear around COVID, no matter where, it still lives, ironically, isn't it?
Yeah, we just have seen it that there was
Yeah.
something that hasn't been solved, and that was still stuck inside of my body. And now it feels much different, and I really feel like I've healed something from the past, which I haven't done, which I wasn't even aware about that that should be healed, Like I wasn't aware about this. And now I feel like my body has understood. Not this is body understanding, like where the trauma is stored in the body. And now it's released. And I feel like I have warm hands now. And I feel so relaxed in my whole body. And that was such a nice and good experience. I cannot even find the right words for it. That was awesome. Thank you.
It's Stephanie, I find it so interesting because when I brought your body just knows, our bodies just know, and they're dying to speak to us because when I mentioned the incident and you closed your eyes, immediately your hands went up like that.
Right.
And I was curious about that because I thought, oh, so like I was like, okay, the body is saying this. You didn't even know. And like you held them there for ages. Like, you know the way sometimes in life you're holding your hands and you get tired.
Yes.
It was like your
Yeah.
hand wanted to do that. And then so I was like, oh,
Right.
that's interesting. She's saying it's not a problem, whatever. But actually her hands are telling me something else. Like,
Wow.
what's this? And we did surrender. So I was curious about that. And I didn't know whether to go back or but it's not about me. It's about you were playing with your hands and they did what they did. They showed and they did. And that was interesting. It all came from that, our body.
That's so interesting, isn't it? You're right. I haven't thought about it, but you're right. Usually if you hold up your hands, that's very exhausting, and at one point you cannot do it anymore. But I felt like I could hold this for ages like this.
Mm.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting how the body actually shows us so somatic, so quickly what it wants, and then it's a
Right.
matter of playing with it, just slowing it down and then tuning in, yeah, and
Yeah,
seeing.
you were giving the whole space for it, and you were realizing what was happening, and just creating the safe space around it, and giving me the room for what's ever there, or to explore what is actually there. Because if it's forbidden to feel like you feel, you're stuck in this. You're not getting forward anymore to feel what is there actually. And somebody might not have this problem, but I know for myself that I have this fawning trauma reaction a lot, and that's why I was surprised when I find myself saying I'm not people pleasing. I just want to have peace, and then later on I find out actually I was people pleasing.
So funny, isn't it?
It is really surprising. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And
Thank
yeah.
you.
COVID still lives on, but it's
Oh, yeah,
actually everything is to learn. It's amazing. You wouldn't have had that experience without like everything is there to teach us, I think.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So what do you think? What can we learn from all of this? What would you say?
Ooh,
Yeah,
um,
we big thing.
I don't know. For some reason, the forbidden fruit, when you said that, that's resonating with me because it's almost like it brings me back to Adam and Eve. And always, if something's forbidden, you always want to grab it. And so for me, I suppose my takeaway is yeah, going into the forbidden fruit and feeling it. And is it okay to have it? Is it okay not to not? It's the body part,
Yeah.
um, of anything we feel or anything we feel strongly about to go, where does it live in our bodies and to come and play with it and love it and whatever, allow it, allow the forbiddenness. Um, yeah, I
Wow,
don't know.
that's a strong one with the forbidden fruit. I really
Mm,
like that. That's really a strong one to go into this, especially when there was so much blaming and shaming around.
yes.
And that's so powerful that you need to activate your inner rebel or something to in order to get connected to yourself.
Mm. Yeah. And I always see shame and blame as just layers of, like, there's fear, and then there's the fight and the flight and then the freeze, but then there's another layer of, so it's of blame and shame, and they're all just protective layers to keep us away from the fear. I feel it's like, if you feel you're blaming somebody or somebody's blaming you, how does that make me feel, to reclaim ourselves? Yeah.
Yeah,
Somatically. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
would you feel about what we can learn from all of this?
A lot, I guess. This is such a huge lesson. Just like as you said, I like that with the forbidden fruit, but also on the other side, I think if you have been one of those, no matter what you believed, who had blamed and shamed other ones for whatever they were believing, you might have to forgive yourself something like that. At that time you have been so activated from your nervous system that you couldn't help yourself, or you have been so influenced with the information that you have had a strong belief in it, that at that time for you this was your truth, or what, no matter on which side you have been standing, that you how to deal kind with yourself. And for me right now, it was just realizing, I'm people pleasing again, and I'm losing the sensation of myself and what's my truth and my worth and everything. And I think that counts for everyone. Like if you might have lost yourself in all of this weird corona situations that have been created. Um, we need to see what's important for us. Is it forgiving ourselves? Is it like finding back our sensations of who we really are and how
Mm.
we really feel about something and what's our own truth, and feel free of guilt, free of shame, and whatever. We are all human beings, and everyone has their own belief system, their own things that drives you, and so I think we have to come back to understanding each other, and that starts always with understanding ourselves. That
Mm.
always starts.
And one last thing, because you said, what resonated with what you said is that beautiful saying, losing the sensation of myself. And that resonated with me hugely, what you said, because it's all about finding our presence and the sensations of who I am. And once we find them, it really doesn't matter what anybody else feels, because we're not in their sensations. We're like wholly
Yeah,
feeling ourselves. Yeah.
right. Nice. Beautiful. So, I think, yeah, we at our end of our podcast, right? Or do you have something
No,
on
that's
your
it.
mind? That's it. Okay. When we understand that fear responses are not our enemies, but protective mechanisms, we can meet ourselves and others with more compassion
Mm.
and maybe begin to breathe together again.
That's lovely. And I would end with the movement, because out of
Yeah,
your session, it was like this, bringing the compassion and the holding and the resonance of ourselves. Yeah.
yeah, right, right. That feels good. Breathing together again,
Mm.
yeah, in calmness and being who we are.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you are looking for more information about Alicia or me, you can look down in the description and see if you can find anything interesting there.
That's it.
That's
Bye.
it. Okay. Bye.